What's going on, everyone? This is AJ from Adventure Code Gaming. I'm here with Ryan. We have an awesome video for today. We have a gameplay video, Ryan. Let's go.
Yeah, finally getting some gameplay, and not only gameplay, live gameplay. We decided to head out to one of our local stores and get a few games in person. I don't know about you, AJ, but I prefer the feel and the social aspect of playing card games in person a lot more than recording otherwise. So it just felt like a good opportunity for us to hang out and get some games in.
Yeah, absolutely. We got some testing going on. This is probably one of my first games actually playing new in paper. I played about like 3 or 4 games on Talishar before this. This list that I am playing is one of the Nationals winning lists. I don't remember which one. It's either like Finland or somewhere else, whichever list was playing like the one eradicate, things like that. So really interesting. You can see my equipment suite's going. I think it's pretty standard to go against Enigma. The only difference is I don't know if typically they play against. Uh, I don't know if typically they play the recurring nightmares or the traverse against Enigma. But this list that I copied actually didn't play traverse at all, so it made that really easy for me.
I think it's important to play the Mask of Recurring Nightmares because banishing extra cards from their hand, or banishing cards from their hand to make their defenses weaker or their offense on the next turn weaker is, it's always a strong disruptive form of disruption.
I'm gonna
But
say this early too. What you're about to see in this game is quite a few missed tunic triggers. It's been quite a while since I played with a tunic, so I've been playing a lot of Prism
yeah,
with Vestige. So
and I've been playing nothing but like Max recently when it comes to like in-person games. So like we've been playing some of the few classes that actually don't play Tunic, so we're gonna miss a few. Going to my list real quick while this first turn is going on. This is my first time playing Enigma in person, having built the deck for realsies. And honestly, I'm new to Illusionist in general. It's not like it's super complicated, but it's definitely kind of like a different style of gameplay than I'm used to with most classes that I play. So,
you can
uh,
see we're
yeah,
already talking about missed tunic triggers. I think I remember that. I just reached over and was like, "Hey, you missed this one, bud."
yeah.
Yeah.
But
I see you start with like the pretty sick play, really good turn one play for you. Starting with the blue Rage Spectre into the Preserve Tradition, able to flip your chi on your very first turn, which is very strong. Rage Spectre being pretty much the baby mirror guy, so to speak, but without chi, it's probably way better. It's definitely the easier one to play, and 6 damage every turn is pretty gnarly.
mm-hmm, definitely strong. And I think I'm deciding in my hand right now. Yeah, I was like, yeah, there's no way I don't activate Enigma when I have Command and Conquer to Arsenal for the next turn here. I guess I was trying to think if I just play the Command and Conquer now or save it for later. So, oh, and this is me. This is me being unprepared. I forgot that I didn't have Spectral Shields with me, so I went through
And
my.
so, funny enough, I actually still have Prism built, and I reach down and just grab you tokens from my Prism deck.
Yeah, that was that was
Yeah, I do
that was
remember
my
this.
bad. I will make sure to have my tokens ready the next time we play in person. But thank God AJ is prepared when it comes to illusionist and prism related materials. So
Yep. So here we see 2 damage coming in from the Prismatic Shield, and then another 6 damage coming in from the Rage Spectre. So a really strong 8 damage turn from Ryan, and he gets the Arsenal at CNC. I take most of it, just knowing that I have to put as much pressure on this ward as much as possible. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to use my Vambrace of Determination to try to get through more ward. I think this first game we play with New, I use it very inefficiently, where there's times where I activate it and you're just able to use a bigger ward, where maybe there's times where I could have, pushed to try to get an extra token or card off the board.
yeah, I know the Van Brace's determination is like a must include in the matchup against Enigma because the amount of times you can just destroy the extra value off their shields or just destroy extra shields in general um, is pretty insane. So I
Oh,
think
I
it.
do remember this too, and I was like, Ryan, your prismatic shields actually get tokens, so we can't be doing this. Like, we
So
have
you just go grab more shields.
yeah, like no. We're not gonna get confused on whether or not it has a +1 token or not. Like, just have 2 shields here.
Yeah, but I play the Coalescence Mirage to go ahead and save the +1 counter off of it, and then make another Spectral Shield once I see he uses the Vambrace to go ahead and go through Ward 1, and then I just give up the Coalescence Mirage because it's done its job at that point.
Absolutely. And this is where I think it can be a real struggle for new at this point to really break through an established new Enigma board already. Like I just don't have the damage in my hand to really pressure Ryan's board at all.
Yeah, the thing is that like you do have the upside in that the daggers themselves can even be like buffed with the Vambrace.
Oh, I'll
And
also say this. We didn't realize this until uh, this actually might have mattered quite a bit. That card that I just pitched was supposed to be picked to pieces that we just forgot about, and it actually would have actually really mattered here, and probably might have changed this whole game. But I didn't remember that, and I actually just when I built this deck, I grabbed the wrong card. I was like acupuncture card. It's the same thing, right?
yeah, they do look really similar, so I don't blame you. But here you are
Because if
using
I
the Siren's Call to pull one of my chi cards. You do this a lot over the couple games we recorded. You pull all my chi out or banish them off the top. It's like
this
kind
is
of
true.
ridiculous how lucky you were with getting those out.
This is true. I'm just thinking here, like if I had been able to play the pick the pieces here, I think I eat the board, which is interesting. So just little things to note when you're deck building. This would be like something to make sure your deck is correct if you ever go to a tournament.
Yeah, I cannot remember what's the last card in my hand I think is just another Rage Spectre, so I probably would have just blocked out with those just to make sure. You had to really go over it to get over my board. And then if you did, then I just cry about it probably. Because once I block out with my hand, there's nothing else I could do against pick to pieces. Ah.
But that said, we'll continue the game. I did play the um I forget the name of this card too. I know it ends in body. Alluring
Oh,
Desire or something like that.
yeah, it looks like you were able to clear out my entire board though, because you attacked over.
Oh, that's right. This turn I did do that. I'm just wondering if like maybe like because that's what the pick to pieces are like not in the deck. So
Yeah, but you were able
it
to
definitely
with
matters
the
later.
yeah, you were able to with the reaction still hit damage over the weakest link that I blocked with. So you were able to pop the other two wards that I had. And then I just
Oh,
come in with a command and conquer to clean up afterwards.
I remember this as well. It's a Command and Conquer, I'm pretty sure, in my arsenal. And I'm looking at my hand, it doesn't really block super well. And I think I end up just eating this Command and Conquer, just kind of looking at my hand and wondering if like I can get more value out of it going back into my turn, more disruption.
I think you
Looking back,
do.
maybe I should have blocked more, but
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say because like Command and Conquer is always a strong card, but I don't have an arsenal for next turn, so keeping it in your hand for the time where I do have something in arsenal is kind of like you could say that's kind of like a dicey proposition. Because then what if you want to arsenal something that's better for like a bigger player? You make like a Slither or Venom or one of those Venom Strike tokens, and you want to arsenal one of those for laters. Having the Command and Conquer just sit there and clog it up is not really efficient, let's say.
absolutely. And you can say first miss tunic counter of the game is right here. I think we do end up catching it this turn, but we'll
We
see.
do, we
Either
do.
way,
It usually takes us just like a few extra actions in the turn to realize we forgot about it. Yep, there you go.
oh, there it is. Yep, coming in with that beckoning mistblade for of course 1 damage, cost 2 resources. If it hits, gives your next blue card go again and +1. So very strong, especially if you're ever playing New's ability, giving your attack +1 and go again off one of their cards. So here you see a pretty common play line that you like to see in a lot of Zen lists, where uh, playing the levels of enlightenment with a blue card already in your pitch zone, then playing the chi card on top of it so that you can pitch to uh, your hero ability. If you can see at first I tried to activate mass, but we're not in reactions yet. uh, but yes, activating the hero ability. I think I see a miraging metamorph on top, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it
But
was a non-blue, and I think that's the card I saw on top there.
yeah,
So
so it already has +1 and go again. So this is coming in for 6, draw a card, I think.
yeah, because you gave it the +1 with the what is it? The grains. Oh
or
no, it's coming in
7.
for 7. That's right, because the +1 for the dagger. Uh, so yeah,
Oh, and I just yeet the card onto the floor. My favorite. But
it's okay. It's still playable. 5-second rule. Uh,
yeah, 1 from the dagger, 2 from its own effect, and then the grain that tips the scale is the cheat card that was played. So ends
yeah,
up being 7 whole damage. Go again, draw a card. Pretty intense levels of enlightenment. I
that's an
think that's the
insane
last
levels of
time I
enlightenment.
actually. I think that is the last time I hit you this game.
I think it is this game. And then you've got the Persuasive Prognosis, which is kind of a nasty one, because then you get to look at my hand after you banish something off the top if I let it hit. But unfortunately, you did kind of show me that you had Surgical Extraction, so I knew that you didn't have another reaction to pump it on top. And I think this was the turn. Either I blocked with something from hand, or I think this is where I blocked with Traverse, and it was just like, screw it. Let's just go get that early chi back and do something. Yep, there it is. Block with a Traverse, search my deck for the chi that I had already flipped on turn 1, and yeah, we get to go off here. It's kind of crazy how it only takes like one good turn for Enigma to set up an oppressive board. But I guess that's kind of what you're experienced with when it comes to doing Halo turns with Prism, for example. It's like it only takes one turn to set up like a super oppressive board to like really set your game state for the rest of the match, and hopefully close it out with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of need. I think the difference is what is actually required in a good Prism setup turn versus what is required in a good Enigma turn, where almost like just having the mirror guy is good enough. Even just with 1 chi, and then you can usually defend that mirror guy for as long as possible, which is kind of what we see in this game. So, I mean, this is already like a 12 damage turn just looking at what's on the board.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Mirror Guy is such a powerful card in general. And then yeah, I get to just use the tuna counter to swing with the second one. I don't think I had anything crazy set up or left in my hand. I think it's just something I'm going to arsenal. But setting up Mirror Guy and the Waxing Spectre is like a pretty insane powerful board because the Waxing Spectre has Ward 3, so it can already block an extra 3 damage before it gets to the Mirror Guy. And otherwise, if I really wanted to just give up the Mirror Guy, it's at least warding 4, which is a pretty powerful defensive setup.
Yeah, and I gave up the Justin Nick here in blocks. I think if I remember correctly, I don't have a target, but I could be wrong, and that's why I chose to do that. Oh,
No, you
there's
have.
actually a card that would have mattered now that I think about it. That would have been a pick to piece.
Yeah, we
And
both
that's
made.
actually a big difference that would have happened pick to pieces and just a nick. But you
Yeah,
know,
there were some mistakes made this night, but that's okay. We'll see in the next game. You guys could look forward to. And I'll just say this: uh, there are very specific cards you should side out against New, so that she can't use them. And I forgot to do
no.
that in the next game. So,
I think
uh,
it's just so funny that like I just a little side note for anyone watching is just that like I went this whole game not knowing that was supposed to be picked to pieces and wondering why this card was in the deck. I just think that's so funny. But here you can see I'm doing my best to absolutely get over this board here. Again, we're just trying to, clear as much of it as possible. Try to get to the mirror guy, which is just not really possible while Ryan has 4 cards in hand still and a setup of wards with the Restless Coalescence, the extra shield, the Waxing Spectre. Waxing Spectre. It's just quite a formidable board here.
oh yeah, it's pretty insane. The fact that I am able to put on the Coalescence Mirage for free and then also make an extra Spectral Shield with it for 2 separate ward sources, and the fact that the Mistblade doesn't have like any extra effects to go through the defenses in this case. It's the one downside to Enigma in general is that a lot of your cards, although you do have cards that can usually buff them, some of them start with such low base damage that even if you were to buff them, they don't really hit over the wards that they need to in certain cases. So, oh, let's see. I think I make a pretty crazy play here just to get some Chi in my hand because I'm going to pitch that, play the what is it called? It's the Lunar
Uh,
Art.
Lunar Art, Sacred Art Lunar Shrine.
Yeah. And I played down the Phantom Tide Maw for free just so I could say I've played a blue card this turn so it can transcend. And the reason why I really want to do that now is because then when I pitch the Chi card for the next card I play, I get to draw a card to replace it. Yeah, this is. I think this is when AJ said this kind of like was the deciding turn for the game. But yeah, against the Leave No Witnesses, I go ahead and pitch that. Draw a card. And yeah, I do believe that during the next turn, I think I drew a red for this turn, so I don't get to do too much on the next turn immediately. But yeah, with this kind of setup, it's kind of hard for AJ to get over all this in a single turn while I'm still trying to attack him with, yeah, the Sink Below. While I'm trying to attack him with a Mirror Guy that now has 5 counters doing 10 damage for 1 pitch. It's pretty nasty once you get it out.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, you just have to eat it, trying to preserve, like, not really preserve your hand, but you need as much gas in your hand as possible to try to get over this board. Again, this is already probably a losing position at this point, but you just have to try your best.
You do have a card in your deck that I don't know if a lot of, or you said you copied this from a list that won a tournament recently. Did it also have the Exude Confidence in it?
Yes, this does have Exude.
Okay, because I always thought that would be a good card against Enigma, especially
I
if you're
think I
playing
actually
like
have an Exude in my
assassins.
hand right now.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing, and that's why I brought it up. I see the Exude in your hand, so I'm just like, that card helped you out in so much. Not as much in this match, but in the next match we play. Just creating scenarios where it's like, I can't even block you because I don't happen to have like one of my attack actions in hand to let me defend my ward over it. Especially while you have like the go again with the E strike here.
Yep, and again, we just see the E strike for 5, just doing our best to try to figure out a way to get as much of this ward off the board, but really, at this point, kind of a losing battle. Kind of what Illusionist likes to do. They like to set up these boards that really just don't give your opponent much of a breathing room, put on a lot of pressure. You can see the life is 32 to 6, but really effectively, Ryan's probably over 40 life if you add all this up. So again, just blocking 3 here, only losing 2 shields. Going up to the Phantom Tide Maul gets a little bit bigger. And of course, we just send the Exude Confidence. We have 1 resource floating, so we're not going to be able to get, really anything super out of it
Yeah, but you do
in
have enough
terms of.
to activate the Vambrace, and the thing is that I chose to save the freaking. I chose to block with the attack now, and then save the defense reaction for the next attack. And of course, it's the attack that I can't defend with a defense reaction if I haven't blocked with an attack yet. So I'm just like, all right. Well, it's a good thing I still have Ward 4. But I do know I need to throw my Tunic down at this point if I want to save the Mirror Guy, so yeah, I throw down the Tunic, and I think I throw just the Waxing Spectre initially, and then when AJ activates the Vambrace, it's going to be the Phantom Tide Maw that goes with it, so just barely keeping the Mirror Guy. And honestly, if I had any other card to defend with in hand, I would have been able to get more of a board state, but that's why Exude Confidence is such a strong option for new again, or actually any player, any offensive deck into Enigma if they really have trouble clearing out those wards. I think it's even a good tech for Guardian into Enigma if they're really worried about the ward board state. You know what I mean? Because then they have all the.
Uh, it, it's possible. I think it's yeah. I mean, maybe especially because Guardian would have the blues to pump it as well with the Exude Confidence's effect on its own card. But here we just see I have to block because I'm at 6. But that's a 10 damage attack coming in. Ryan still gets the Arsenal card. We know that it's a sink below. But really, again, this game's kind of out of reach. Especially with a sink below an Arsenal, it's going to be very difficult to get to this Mirror Guy that's been just kind of pounding my face in.
Yeah, it was one thing when I got the Mirror Guy out that one turn, but following it up soon after with the Lunar Art to get all the ward with all the +1 counters, it's like that back to back before New has a chance to really establish a board or not a board state, sorry, but establish like damage presence on her own ahead of time. It's really hard for her to come back from that. So, but
Nope, and here we see the
Codex of Frailty.
Codex of Frailty after the sink below comes down on uh the blue card that I just played. I can't remember it.
Surgical.
Surgical Extraction, yeah. On the Surgical Extraction, Ryan did have the sink below, which is just enough to cover it up. It wasn't a don't have any attack reactions to pump it, just the boots to give it go again. Again, just trying to get to this mirror guy, get it off the board. But really, I think we're kind of getting to the end game here where, again, it's just going to keep coming in for 10. We can see Ryan actually has another D-React in his hand. So, but I might just be discarding it here.
Yeah,
There we
because it's
see
like I
Exude
did have a
Confidence
way
come
to
down.
get Chi into my hand, but I think I knew because you were grabbing the Exude Confidence that I knew I wasn't going to be able to play it anyway. So I'm like, okay, guess I'll just throw it down here.
Yep, and
And
this is all in response to the Exude Confidence. So before its effect is active, responding with the Phantom Tide Maul and the Chi card, Amish Ancestor is going to gain another life, put this game even more out of reach for me. But even more importantly, he's going to have that Chi card to make an extra shield. But what he's really going to do is turn on the boots at that point. So again, gets to keep his mirror guy and have a shield. So that will cover up the 4 damage.
uh,
And
you know what? Looking back onto this, I think this is kind of a misplay by me. Like just a minor misplay, obviously, just given like how much of a lead I have. But I should, because you
oh,
had
you
no
actually don't do
resources
that, yeah.
floating. Oh no no, you do with the tunic. That's why I had to do it. That's right. I knew I
Uh,
had to make sure I had the extra ward available. And then we were talking about whether or not I should say that I activated the boots, because I think I forgot to. You do have to kind of declare that you're letting the boots have Ward 3, because it's a May, so it's not like automatic that it gets Ward
it's a
3
triggered
anytime you.
effect that
Yes.
you, yeah.
So I do give up the boots here, and I have a bit of a board state. I was supposed to put a +1 counter on the Phantom Tide Maw for that, because it's anytime an illusionist card is destroyed, which that counts when the boots get destroyed by its ward effect. But it didn't really come up after this. I think I just use its ward effect. I don't even attack with it at this point, just attacking with the shield for now. And it
You
don't,
see
of
me
course,
drop a card off the ponder. It was the ponder token. We just again. It's kind of in dire straits here. I just like forgot I had it, and just take the card that was the first card on top, put it in the arsenal, draw another card.
yeah. Um, So yeah, just at this point in the game, we kind of knew it was mostly a foregone conclusion, but we did want to see how it played out, or maybe if AJ would have been able to destroy the Mirror Guy, if I would have lost pressure to be able to close out the game at some point. But it's really hard to come back once the Mirror Guy has a 10. It's or sorry, the Mirror Guy. Once the Enigma has the 10 damage Mirror Guy coming down on you each turn for one resource to pitch. So. And the funny thing is, the face down card is obviously the uphold tradition. I didn't even use it this game, so I still had a +1 counter I could add to it at any time to boost its damage by like 2. So
Yep. And again, just coming in with the Mistblade. Hopefully trying to get through this ward. Again, it's just such an established board, so late in the game I'm at 1. Ryan honestly could probably let his board die at this point, and it wouldn't matter, but
yeah, because you have to take into account the fact that I have other attacks that keep going through your deck at the same time, like the Command and Conquer and other attacks that I may have, or setting up future auras because I have such a health lead that I can just take and go come back at you with a full hand. Yeah, it's really hard, but it's that is flesh and blood sometimes, Some one player has just the god hands that they were hoping to get in the early game, or just the plays that they're hoping to see as early as possible to set up as much of an oppressive front against their opponent that it makes it hard for them to even come back or put up much offense after the fact. Kind of like if KO got like Blood Rush Bellow 3 turns in a row or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here I'm going to transcend. This is a really strong card and new typically is the Passover transcend. It just banishes a card from their graveyard, so you can usually pick one of their best blues that you want to play on your turn. Or you can start getting rid of like if you're worried about codex, you start getting rid of their good attacks. So when they codex things back, they don't get their good cards, which is kind of what I was thinking here. Again, it doesn't it's not super material in terms of what comes to light in this game, but um,
It's
that
always
is
good
kind
to
of the
be
thought there.
Yeah, it is always good to be practicing, even at this stage in the game, just kind of like getting into the habit of making these decisions so that in future games it just becomes second nature. There goes the Mask of Recurring Nightmares, just getting rid of an extra card from my hand. Funny enough, that was kind of an important card because being able to instant now Phantom Tidemaw is a card that has definitely gone through a lot of speculation for its usage over the past couple months before Enigma's release. I say that having just a zero cost one ward that you can just drop down at any instant speed is honestly on its own worth enough in certain scenarios to keep it in the deck. And the fact that it could let me easily transcend most cards afterward is just a godsend.
Yep, and just when you thought I might have gotten to the rest of the board, Ryan does have another D-React in his hand. So I believe this is going to be the last turn of the game where Ryan is going to close it out. Each attack is basically Kodachi locking me, so
Yeah, not only that, the fact that I'm swinging 10 for 1, I still have 2 resources floating to end with the card in my arsenal. And unfortunately, yeah, that's going to be that
yep,
is going to be game.
keep it up there. And that was again Ryan putting on a good show with Enigma. A couple misplays on new. Definitely could have played better, but
I think
yeah,
like the traverse is such a like this is another example too of like how traverse is such an insanely good card because I mean when you look at it this way, the traverse was able to get me that early chi back in hand for me to even make that early game mirror guy play, get it onto the board when I had as much of a health lead as I had, and make it so I was able to set up that early board state once the uh, Sacred Art comes into my hand the turn after. So I think Traverse is just like one of the most insane headpieces, and we're like in a meta of like insane pieces coming in back to back. We had Crown of Providence, then Balance of Justice, and now we have Traverse the Universe. Like they can't stop printing like insane headpieces.
yeah, absolutely. And so that was our first game in our gameplay series of gameplay videos that are going to be coming out. So I'm super excited to be bringing you more. Um, and yeah, no, it was a great game and a great show of what Enigma can do. And we'll look see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, do look forward to the next one, guys, because the next game is definitely a lot more intense. Comes down to the wire. I think we get down to like the lowest health brackets against each other, like back to back. Comes down to the wire, and I'm definitely excited to commentate on that one, especially. So stay tuned for that video, guys.